Welcome to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Jim Simonetti, where we'll be chatting to Chris Bungard. Chris, welcome to the show.
How you doing, man?
It's an absolute pleasure to have you down here at Cathkin Park. What's your thoughts on the pitch and the clubhouse?
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I'm actually amazed walking down there. Told a wee bit of history about the place, showed about. I'm just baffled at this place that I didn't know it existed, so I can't wait to take more pictures and actually tell all my friends about this place.
We were talking earlier about Jimmy Johnson. You see him in action, you see the stance, the body shape, all that kind of thing. And you started speaking about how martial arts could benefit footballers in Scotland. Tell me what your theory is on that.
Well, basically, I've grew up playing football since I've been like a baby, basically. And I know the Scottish game, and I know the Scottish amateur scene very well. And you get kicked a lot. The pace is fast. It's tough in the body, tough. If you're good, you're getting kicked a lot, kind of like similar to Jinky. And I think being involved in martial arts can set you up for the Scottish game if you're looking to go that step further. And you see some of these players, the good, like, high quality players coming up to England, from Scotland to England, and they'll make it because the game's too fast. Well, if you can make it here and you're good, then when you go down there, you can take the toughness. Or I know some of them these days, they don't take the toughness and maybe roll about or play act or dive, but there's nothing better than a solid Scottish football player. And I think that's just another wee feather in your cap. If you've got that in your body, you're not got to shy away from a tackle or a tough game or a tough challenge. Like I loved watching like a Roy Keane growing up. Like, he was, to me, like a solid captain, and you could see like Kieran Tierney going down and like all these fans loving him, the way he acts like a normal boy and the way he's dedicated. I think some of the Arsenal players actually yesterday says that they tell him to calm down and train because he was too aggressive in his tackles. And then you get these other guys, just, they don't want it. They get paid all these hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, but some players want to play and some players just want the money and the limelight, kind of.
Absolutely. You mentioned Kieran Tierney, so let's stick on the subject of modern Celtic at the moment. We'll go back to your upbringing as well, Chris, but Kieran Tierney's obviously been part of this very special run, 9 in a row.
Yeah.
What's been your own experience as a fan going through that period?
Just trophies. just trophies. Like I grew up, obviously, my first memories were Rangers beating us, the old Sky Sports, me watching like George Albert's rattle in free kicks at like 40 yards, and I'm like, oh, is this football? Is this like we lose all the time? To now, like, oh right, we win all the time, so this is what's happening. But it's just memories for obviously Lennon starting it. You had the old Ronnie Dial era. He came in and done the job. Obviously, he was quite honest with his part in the job, and then I honestly did. I thought Brendan flipped a coin. We brought back great football, European football, and world-class players as well. I loved Dembele. So then he was bringing back trebles. From Martin O'Neill to him was a long gap before a treble. And then he was bringing trebles, even though he exited. We won't talk about that now, but he just brought, this is what Celtic's all about and that. So it's just a lot of good memories. Like, the Rogic goal, the European nights, the nights that we used to love through, like Martin O'Neill, like Juventus nights and Champions League nights were the place to be at Celtic Park, and it kind of fell away a wee bit. Even the Europa, you weren't even winning. So it's just good memories, but it's just like you get brought up and being a Celtic fan is just a way of life. You get your ups, your downs, and it's just your life is involved around about this football club.
It is a way of life, and I think, Jim, talking to people with a Celtic state of mind, as we call it, shows how much a way of life it is. I remember when I started writing about Celtic, and thinking that I knew a wee bit, and then you start meeting people, and then you realise you actually don't know anything because there's people out there who live 24/7 about Celtic Football Club.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you look at a lot of the young lads, middle-aged and older people, they're engrossed. Many people, as Tommy said, it's a way of life for a lot of people. And you think, I've watched the Celtic, I've done this, and then you speak to somebody else, well, they've done this and done that. And I think when we were in Cluj, Chris, so we're talking away, running about the table late at night, and this other guy hadn't missed an away game in Europe for so many years, and you look and go, how do you manage to get every European game in? So there's different people, it takes things to different levels, but watching Celtic is a state of mind, and it is the ups and downs and whatever. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
That guy, I remember, he didn't say it was an exclusive club or anything, Chris, but it was people who had been to 100 away European games.
That's right, aye, you're right.
Like yourself, I'm thinking, how on earth? I love Celtic, but that is dedication, like, you know.
I was in Cluj. Was it the last one or was it the one before?
The last one, yeah.
Last one.
I was there. Aye.
That's what it's been.
I was maybe in the same pub, but probably upside down at that point.
Aye.
We ended up just walking into the stadium and we ended up in amongst the Cluj fans, remember?
That's right. It was actually quite crazy. Well, we were in the pubs in Cluj. We went to that one, we went down the stairs. Aye. You were taking a lot of folk. Do you know
the bar's on the right hand side, you go down the stair.
That's it.
I was in there, aye.
That's what it's been then. That's maybe
how you can recognise Chris.
Aye. So we went there and then we went to a few other places and then we went back to the hotel. But the funny thing was when we went to the game that night, everybody's got their tickets and whatever.
I remember it was freezing.
It was freezing. But we all had our tickets. We're on the bus and making our way to the game. And the bus went right to the front of the stadium and they just opened the doors and let us all go in without saying, right, where's your tickets or whatever. And then we were in beside the Cluj fans.
Yeah, that's right. On that night, and it's going back to a point you made earlier, I remember young Dembele coming on.
Mm-hmm. That's right, aye.
He went up the right and the boy just hit him. Yeah. And he actually didn't get up for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you think that's one of the points you're making there, just to try and kind of get somebody a wee bit more streetwise, how the martial arts would work for them?
Yeah, of course. I think it's because he's so small as well, but skillful. His game is his skills, so he's probably got to rip the cunt out of people before he gets a hard one, and people know how good he is, so they maybe hit him early. So like stuff like that can maybe not toughen him up a wee bit, but you're not got to learn stuff like that on a football park when you're doing drills or skills. But I think martial arts could probably help him, but it's a tough one. You don't want to do too much when you're a professional as well, try to juggle a lot, but coming up before you get to that level could definitely help.
When you're talking, and this will always be the case now, when we're talking about the 9 in a row, people say, well, Neil Lennon started it, then we had a couple of years under Ronnie before Brennan comes in. It's unfair, I think, to put him as a footnote.
I actually said that there myself.
But every time that's how everybody describes it. But one of the things when I'm looking back, Chris, is I think Ronnie Deila tried to instill a different mentality or approach even to being what he called a 24-hour athlete. Do you think that's something within the Scottish psyche that we just can't accept? Because I know Collins was talking about it a couple of weeks ago as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Everybody has their own style, especially managers try to make their own style, and I don't know, man. It's a tough one. But I said that there about Ronnie. He came in for the 2 years as if he'd done nothing. He still won doubles, and he still actually brought KT through as well, gave him. So maybe they deserve a wee bit more respect than that.
No, I think it's a natural thing because his second season, football-wise, wasn't great, was it? I mean, it wasn't great to watch.
The fans weren't showing up as well. Like, they were shutting top tiers down and stuff like that, which is never a good sign for Celtic Football Club. They should be 60,000 every week if they could, know what I mean? And it usually is, but I don't know, it kind of just fell away. It was weird, wasn't it? I don't know if it's because Rangers fell out or the football were playing or just because there wasn't really any proper competition. I don't know. I think
it was a difficult one. Exactly. Now, when you also mentioned Brendan Rodgers, and obviously we should talk about him because he brought an amazing, you said he flipped the coin, he did. Yeah. Brought an amazing brand of football. The players he was bringing in largely were a different kind of standard. He improved a lot of players. What I've been seeing on social media, Chris, is folk are loving the fact when Leicester City get beat.
I've seen that last night, didn't go down too well.
I know.
If it was that 4-1?
4-1, and then the memes started getting posted. What's your thoughts on that? Is it time just to say, listen, Brendan's there, we're moving on to bigger, better things?
At the time when I heard that he'd left that night, I think I tweeted like, thanks for the memories, you've done this, done that. But see, as the hours went on, and I'm just seeing him with a Leicester tie on within a couple of hours, I'm like, you were like our manager like a couple of years, like, no, fuck this guy. I just thought at the time, and we had a big cup game against Hearts or Hibs, and the sun was coming up in a couple of days, and it was like out the back door kind of a thing, and I thought the Celtic fans deserved a wee bit better, but years down the line, like, just let the guy get on with it now. We've got on with it. We've brought in Neil, who's done a great job. When people maybe thought, I remember the cup final, like, it was kind of like a dampener they put on people, they thought, like, because they announced it right after it. Aye. And he's done wonders with the club.
It was good how just by chance Neil had fallen out with him, so we didn't have to pay any compensation as well.
I think it's a blessing in disguise. I mean, if you look at that Scottish Cup final, it was a very, very tense game.
Nervy.
Very tense game. The pressure that was on Neil in that game must have been immense. But here, we get through it. And I've got to be honest, I was going to Hong Kong the next day, actually. Me and John Gilmore were going to Hong Kong the next day. I was absolutely delighted that the announcement was made. But you could hear the ripples. Oh, no. Even at our table, a couple of the guests that was there was, no, that can't be happening. No, we've got to get somebody different. But we've gave Neil the platform to take us back and keep us where we belong at the top. And I think he's done a magnificent, fantastic job. And I think he's matured as a manager and as an individual as well. I actually think Neil Lennon is a fantastic coach and manager for Celtic Football Club. And him or Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon all day long.
Are you a big fan of Lennon yourself, Chris?
I think he's a good man-on-man coach as well. He can get a lot out of players, as if you could tell he'll have a good relationship with every single player and get the best out of them. And his tactics are really good as well. He's a winner. And he knows the club, he loves the club. And I think that's all you want. But a lot of people maybe want this fancy, maybe foreign coach that maybe have a few trophies under their belt, but they don't know the Scottish game. They don't know what it means to play for Celtic, to put on he won several trophies as a captain as well. So he's basically the perfect guy to lead us to 10 after starting it as well. So yeah, I'm definitely happy. But Brendan Rodgers is an excellent coach as well. When he went back to Leicester, they were on fire, but ever since the lockdown's finished, they've not been doing too well. But yeah, I see Lennon taking us to 10, definitely.
I'm looking forward, when you look back, Chris, to let's say the team that you assembled that maybe beat Barcelona in 2012, and you look at some of the players in that team, Lustig and Commons, players like that, Ledley, that team, Wanyama, Forster,
Wilson.
It was a brilliant side that he assembled, you know.
Aye.
And I don't think we've yet seen Neil Lennon's side yet. Yeah. He's not had the time to assemble his new side. He's starting to build it. I think that'll be interesting maybe in a season or two when you actually see the team that he's building at the moment as well. And, you know, I've said a few times I actually think that Neil Lennon will have success in Europe. People just look at me as if I'm off my head, but I honestly think last season there was a few signs that we could progress in Europe. I'm not going to say we're maybe going to win a trophy, but I think we will get to the latter stages and hopefully in the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely. Like, some of the players are not. We've got right now is world class. I think Edwards, I know he maybe only be here for another year or whatever, but like I could watch that guy play all day. His touch, his link-up play, his finishing, I actually think he's a world-class striker. He'll do well for France because he's banging them in at the 21s, and I think he'll go on, maybe see him and Dembele up front for France in the future.
Scary. Imagine sitting watching the World Cup finals and they two up front for France.
I would definitely have a France tap on.
I know. You know what I was thinking about during the week there? We had a conversation with Tommy Carruthers, who is also a martial artist, and he was speaking about getting to the goal with the least amount of energy. So it's like the route one, and I didn't mean a punt up the park, just the route one that he was talking about, his own kind of philosophy. I think when you look at Edouard, we're trying to make correlation between martial arts and football. He doesn't do any daft running, does he?
He doesn't really.
He keeps the energy,
He doesn't really do much running. Maybe as a striker defending, as we would say. He waits for that opportunity for that ball to come. Maybe it's just like yourself, Chris, you're waiting for that opportunity for that bang and you've knocked a guy out. So it's no unsimilar. You know, it's that reactive instinct that he's got and he's very good at it. I think he is anyway, but it's his knockout punch that you don't see coming that makes him a wee bit different, innit?
I know, we're just turning everything into martial arts
He's
references.
He's so calm on the ball. Like, he's got Ibrox. He just slides it under. Like, he's like the coolest guy in the stadium every time. But as I say, man, it'll be hard to keep hold of him because he's that good. And I think the Celtic fans know it. And hopefully he knows what it means to get 10. It looks like he does. I've heard rumours that he's getting the number 7 jersey. I don't know if that's got to be true. But I do like him. I'm a big fan.
That's a good point, Paul. Who was the last person to wear the number 7?
Paddy Roberts, I think.
Was it Paddy Roberts?
Paddy, aye. And I did like Paddy Roberts, and it's a shame that his career's kind of gone off track. I'd have him back. I'd have Paddy Roberts back.
I think that's down to him, though. Like, would you rather just sitting about in benches, or would you rather play in Europe and win trophies for one of the best clubs in the world? So.
Aye, and be adored, as he would be.
I feel like, is he coming back? Is he coming back? I don't really care now. Like, you had your hundreds of chances.
You've had your chance.
It's down to him. So, I don't really know where he is now. Is he England, or is he Genoa or something? He was in Spain for a bit, then he came back to England.
I think he's still a Man City player.
Man City.
Aye.
I think he's still a Man City player.
He said that a spell at Norwich, he's been in Spain, and he also had a spell at Middlesbrough. So as you say...
But they're all loans, aren't they?
Aye.
It's like, I don't know, man. Because he's technically great. He's a great footballer, and like Celtic fans did love him as well, so I don't know.
If we go right back then, Chris, talk to us about your upbringing. Where are you from, and what's your memories of your childhood?
I'm from a small village called Holytown, which is in like Motherwell, North Lanarkshire. That's a good question about my memories of upbringing. I grew up in like a block of flats in Holytown. It was quite wild, to say the least. We called it the Bronx. That's how bad it was. But my memories as a child was like, there was the lockups outside my house, and it was just kicking a ball off the lockups basically. 2 garages was 1 goal basically, and that was it. Hanging about with my friends. There was like a burn beside me. We're just jumping over the river, like all the way down to like Bellshill and stuff like that. Growing up playing football, amateur football, 7-a-sides all the way through to amateur with like Holytown Colts. Before I obviously started mixed martial arts, I went to like Christ the King School, and Taylor High School was a secondary school. So it was a bit of a mad upbringing, to be fair, just through the area that I stayed in. But I always say that area made me the man I am today. So I started martial arts, so it was a bit later, 21. So I wish that I started earlier. I'd be a black belt in jiu-jitsu by now. I'd just be a lot better, but that's the way my license went.
We'll speak about how that kind of changed. You were talking there about some of the youth that you see coming through nice and early.
Yeah.
Was there any reason why it was a wee bit later for yourself? Just something you didn't discover until later age?
That's it. I didn't really know anything about it. I was too busy in football and girls. Like, that was my life.
There's worse things.
There's worse things in life, Chris.
Vices.
Yes.
But I loved football. Like, I was a striker. I love scoring goals. But like, mixed martial arts isn't even that old, to be fair. You're talking like 25 years maybe. The UFC have been out. And it was just, I heard that we were calling it cage fighting back in the day, at my local sports centre at Keir Hardy. So I just bought myself some small gloves, didn't have a clue what it was about, but I went with my friend, and it was like we'd pull the mats out and rented a hall, and we'd do like jiu-jitsu, which is like grappling based, and some sparring, some striking drills and stuff like that. And then that was like 10 years ago, and it's been a mad roller coaster journey, starting in that wee hall to like fighting the biggest arenas in the world and stuff like that.
Incredible. Let's talk about that. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know much about MMA, what is it? Explain it to us.
So MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts, which is basically a sport that involves any martial arts you could think of. So standing wise, you've got your like boxing, your Muay Thai, you could have like your judo, stuff like that, taekwondo, any striking from the feet. But you also bring in your clinch games, same again, judo, wrestling. Then when it hits the deck, you're on to like your grappling submission side there, jiu-jitsu, but it's all crammed into one sport. So it's very tough to learn them all, but you'll create your own style, and it's basically contested inside the cage. Free for professionals, 3 5-minute rounds. If it's a title fight, it's 5 5-minute rounds. But amateurs are usually like 3-3s with like shin pads or no head strikes. It's different skill sets and rules for amateurs to professionals, like no elbows, stuff like that. So this sound a bit confusing and that, but it's been a massive part of my life. It's changed me as a person. It's gave me definitely a different route in my life. When I was growing up, I could have easily went another way, a more dangerous route than martial arts. So I'm glad I fell into it, and I fell in love with the sport, because I like to think I'm a better person through it. Obviously, I like to say my good always outweighs my bad, so if it keeps doing that, then I'll be happy.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier about the situation in America where people get guns out of fear, you know, for self-defence, if you like, but then you're in a situation where it just escalates, and, you know, it's now going to be difficult to ever pull that one back. And you were talking about, this is a self-defence mechanism that would benefit everybody. Yeah,
of course, because mainly central Scotland, there's so much knife crime. Sadly, you're like my small village in Hollowtown, there was like 5 to 6 murders maybe last year through silly somebody just pulling out a knife in one wrong place and they're dead. So you're trying to get away from like put the knives down, and like I'm always saying just go looking for fights with your fist, because you don't, but like the thing like a knife crime can take away from families, the hurt it can cause through years, people losing their children, their loved ones. It's not worth it. It's not worth that 2 seconds of stupidity. Where like just I think martial arts, obviously self-defence, can get you a lot of things, because as I says before, like you could be a quiet loving family sleeping in bed at night, some idiot full of drugs full of can come through your door, just try to steal your telly, your keys for your motor, anything, because the world we live in these days, the news is negative. Every time you flick the news on your telly or the radio, negative, somebody's died, somebody's killed, somebody. Just try to flip it around a wee bit, try and be more positive, look after your body, do martial arts, because you never know, that psycho in the boss maybe turn around at you, that psycho maybe you're hoping he picks the door next to you instead of your door, you know what I mean? You don't know what could come around the corner, or even if you see something happen, you kind of might be that guy to step in, because this person can't defend herself or shying away, where I'm the type of guy that's standing up like, what the fuck you doing? Fuck off, leave him alone, or maybe disarm them, anything. I'm not saying I'm fucking He-Man or the hero or that, but I'd love to be that guy. I grew up wanting to be a fireman to save people, and I always feel like I want to, if somebody's not big enough or to deal with their situation themselves, seen so many people shy away where I've had to step in. I feel good at that, but I would like everybody to be like that more, because I think martial arts have gave me a confidence as well, which is good for a lot of people, a wee confidence booster to like maybe speak up or just defend themselves in like crazy situations. I'm just using them as examples, but you never know. A guy in a shop can just start going mental. You're in the shop trying to buy chewing gum, not mean stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So these are real life things that can happen within people. Like the other day, people just pulling at knives, stabbing people, going in a frenzy. You could be walking at a shop, walking at Greg's. This guy's in a frenzy, like. Good to be prepared than not prepared. Absolutely.
You can walk into these situations, Jim. You deal with a lot of kids coming through the doors at the Jimmy Johnson Academy, and you've got some talented martial artists as well. I mean, you instill a confidence in young kids at football. How important is it, be that football, martial arts, or whatever your chosen kind of field is?
Well, we try to install a confidence as such where they feel comfortable within themselves. And Chris has touched a cranking spot there where it's having that confidence. If you are up against something or whatever, that you've got that wee bit of knowledge to say, yep, okay, I can either walk away from this or whatever. But if somebody's getting bullied and it's another guy's bullying them, you can say, hold on a second, I'm not happy with the way what you're saying or what you're doing to this other young person or older person or whatever it may be. Well, I learned something from Tommy Burns, that I seen Tommy in the dressing room, and what he done was he had all the players talking, Chris, after the game. So they would all talk about their game after the game, have them talking at a young age, so they became confident talking, and it didn't matter who walked in the dressing room, whether it be yourself, Chris or whatever, and you're standing there, these young players would express themselves and their thoughts on the game. And they're still taught that today. They're given their time. Whatever you say is no wrong. You just tell us what you're thinking about this, and then we'll take it all together, we'll put it there. So we try to install the confidence within the young player, or the young athlete, let's call them, the young athlete, by their state of mind, right? The way to talk. We try to teach them as well heart intelligence and intellectual intelligence working together, so as that they've got the heart, they want to get in for that ball, or they want to win that tackle, they want to be first there, right? But equally working with their head, working everything together and getting them that confidence. And it's worked to this day. I like what Chris is saying. It's just knowing you get that wee bit there, and it brings that wee bit of extra confidence.
Oh, definitely. Where does it go from, Chris, you and your pal going in with a few wee mats and saying, I'm going to give this a try, to you then starting to compete? Was there someone in particular who was a big influence? Was there a coach that came along?
No, not really coach-wise, but my grandfather, who I called my papa, who died in December there, he was like my best pal. Like, I could go to him about anything. I stayed with him every Thursday. I had my dinners with him all the time, and he always supported me through anything I'd done, but he was like the only person I would listen to, basically. If he said something, I would listen to it right away. So he kind of helped me out through it all. He wasn't a fan at the start, to be fair, but he knew that I loved it, and he kind of supported me, and actually sometimes made my diet, like when I was on diets for fights, he would make all my meals every day and stuff like that. But it started off, I got my first amateur fight pretty quickly, because I caught onto the jiu-jitsu side very quick, and I won with it the first minute with a submission, and so I was like, this is quite mad. I had like a big support. It was in St Andrews. It was just a wee sports hall in St Andrews, and I won pretty quick, and I was like, caught the buzz then. And I went a couple of fights, and my gym wasn't really busy, so I ended up having to move to like a bigger gym. We had a lot of more grappling partners and sparring partners and that, which was my gym, the now Scottish Hit Squad. And then my new coach was Brian Gallagher, who was my first coach. He wasn't really, he taught me my basics, but he wasn't like experienced in the game. He didn't know too much, but he'd still taught me my basics, so I'll always appreciate what Russell Bailey done for me. But it was just time to move on. Like, I was the only one showing up in the gym, and I had like a fight coming up. I was like, what's going on here? So I moved to the Scottish Hit Squad with Brian. We had like 20, 30 on a mat, good training partners. I just gelled with Brian right away. He had a background in boxing, and he was a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So then it was just all my amateur fights came from there, but my papa was there through it all, and I saw a lot in life to my papa, because just like martial arts, he kept me disciplined. But as I said before, like through my football days, it was my first football coach that really gave me a kick up the arse. Like when Pat McGreedy was my coach at Houghton Colts, when he shouted and he had like an angry voice, we would always have a laugh, but when he really meant it, like, oh fuck, mate, better get up this hill, there's Pat shouting. And Pat done that with through all the boys growing up, through all the unders, through Houghton Colts. He's like a Houghton Colts legend, Pat McGreedy. So I think if it wasn't for Pat, I wouldn't be as tough or as disciplined, because I used to I could be a wee toe rag back in the day, a pain in the arse, like slag people and get away with it. But with Pat, I did really respect Pat. So when he shouted, it took me on through my martial arts. When I got a new coach, and when I got a new coach, I was like, the coaches, he's the main man. These are the guys you need to listen to. These are the guys, when he's talking, you're listening. I still like a laugh, don't get me wrong. I still like crack some jokes in then, but you need to have a bond with your coach, but you need to know when to listen, when not to listen. And discipline's the main reason that got me out feeling maybe fighting in the streets, to listen to people, and I've just carried that on through life, and I can't wait to carry it through people I coach or my kids one day. Like, I know these are the guys, my papa, my coaches, that I'm going to kind of, this is how you're supposed to treat people. This is how life's supposed to go, you know what I mean? If you respect them, they respect you. Like, everyone's good. Like, so discipline is timekeeping, eating healthy, don't get me wrong. In between fight camps, I eat shite, I eat crap. I love my junk food, I love my chocolate, but when it's fight camp, which is a couple months for me, I know this is when you need to switch it on. This is where I need to be strict. So discipline with your food, your training, and respecting people, I like that. I know I'm in a fight game. People sometimes don't like each other, your fighters, that's why you fight. maybe say some stuff, but the fight game is mostly about respect. Even if you leather each other for the full fight, you'll shake hands after it, and you've got this wee bond now. Like, you maybe not like him, but we've just fought for 15-20 minutes. There's something I like about this guy because I've just shared this moment with him. So discipline and respect's it's a huge thing for me, especially growing up in Hollytown. Like, you were respected if you were, like, they knew who you were, and like you could handle yourself, or the way you treated people. Like, I hate bullies, so if I had to stand up against a bully, people would like you, and I think that's the way you need to go in life, through discipline.
What I think is as well, what you're saying there, Chris, you know, that the discipline is very important, and that's what we install here as well, is discipline. Now, tough trainers in your life are good, but fair trainers as well. Being a tough trainer, but being fair. What the guys actually teach you to do is blank out negativity, you know, and you're right, you listen and you become a sponge what they're saying. We say, take in what we're saying to you, and then later on in life, or as we're going, take what is useful. Take what is useful to you. Disregard the rest, and then the next person who comes along who's part of your development, take a wee bit for them, put that into your bag, and then disregard what is no useful to you. So as you're going along, as you're speaking there, you've had your first coach who you still remember, still get great affinity with him, to your next coach, So it's a wee bit for everybody, isn't it?
Perfect.
And it's a bit like mixed martial arts. It's a bit of everything all coming together. So everybody's giving you that wee different bit all the time.
That's it.
And that helps you become the athlete that you are today, and to go forward as well, which is very, very endearing and very, very good and fresh to hear.
That's a good way of looking at things. I've never really thought about that, but that's perfectly put, isn't it?
See, the sport, how you're saying it's quite a new or quite a young sport in itself. Where do you see that going? Where's the trajectory at the moment?
Well, it's the fastest growing sport in the world. That's a fact. It's only 25 years old. Everybody's get into it. People still love boxing, but I think with martial arts, mixed martial arts, there's just that wee bit more excitement in it. A fight can end with a kick, with a flat. Like a few fights ago, I won me like a flying submission, which is a flying triangle, which is, to explain it would be quite difficult, but if you watched it, you'd probably like that's just out of like a Street Fighter film or something. Basically, I fly through the air and wrap my legs around the guy's head and choke him unconscious. But saying that,
Jim wants you to demonstrate it to me.
I would like to put the camera on and you date the ball.
So you've got stuff like that. I cornered my teammate Paul Craig in London last year. He was fighting a big Russian guy. He was like something out of Rocky, Ivan Drago style, undefeated, all his accolades. Paul was underdog. Mixed martial art, MMA is 3 5-minute rounds, right? 5 minutes is a long time for punching, kicking, grappling, honestly. So we get to the third round, the last round, we get to 4 minutes 59 seconds. So we've got 1 second to go. My teammate Paul Craig submits this guy after losing probably the other 14 minutes and 59 seconds. Last second of the last round, submits him, tap, he wins the fight. The place goes mental. Like, I jump over the cage and I take a spear on him. I'm that excited, pure ecstasy.
Brilliant.
And he's that fucked for just this Russian guy. He's looking up at me and he's like, he thought it was like one of the Russian corners, like jump on him. And that's the enjoyment of the sport. You can be a second to go, you're the champ, you're the winner. And I think that's what makes it different for boxing. Don't get me wrong, boxing is a beautiful sport. I love watching it. I love Tyson Fury. I love the way his mental state is as well, and the way he looks at life. I could listen to him all day. But I think with MMA, it takes that wee head kick, that wee front kick, the wee flying knee, short elbows, to the special submissions in the ground, to the proper athletes, explosive, the characters, the charismatic people. So I think it's got a bit of everything, and I can just see it going bigger and bigger and bigger, and the competition in the young athletes getting better and better, and you'll get these superstars coming from everywhere now. But it is different because Scotland is a footballing country, maybe rugby as well. But things that's going on in the streets now, they're taking away the football parks, or like even some of these 3G, 4G parks are a fortune to train on, or you don't see like young boys like I used to do, like a couple of cones or jackets down out in the grass just kicking a ball about till like 12 at night. You don't get that in there. People are on their phones, they're on Instagram, they're out drinking, doing that, whatever. But I don't know, man, maybe when I'm older, maybe going up a gym, try and get the young ones in at a younger age, and I don't know, man, it's tough because football's so loved in this country as well. But I could see martial arts. I don't know if it'll ever go higher in boxing because there's a lot of money in boxing, but the people love it, man. It is addictive, and I'm seeing a lot of people, like, after my last fight there, I don't know if it was because it was on Channel 5 or whatever, but I was crossing my papa's road, and like just an older like woman, I would say she was a granny, and she was an old. She stopped her wee red car and put the window down. Oh, I watched you last night, son. And I'm like, this woman's got to be about 80 and she's watching MMA. I'm like, maybe it is turning a wee bit. You never know.
I think so. I remember, like, maybe 15 years ago in a gym, and I did go to a gym.
Did you?
Obviously, it was just
the
running machines.
Right.
The running machines.
Did you just look at the gym, or did you participate?
There's a good cafe. There's a good cafe just next door. And a couple of the guys that were working out, you know, it was like, aye, they're cage fighters. You know, and there was this kind of mystique. It was like, that sounds brutal. A cage fighter. And like, even your nickname, the bad guy. But as you say, I think with education and people getting used to it, they're realising it is about technique.
Yeah.
Rather than brutality.
Oh, definitely. I think people see, they'll fire it on. Oh, it's in a cage. Oh, that guy's getting elbowed. There's blood everywhere. Fuck that. Get it off, know what I mean? Where really they don't see the skill involved to take somebody down, control them there, maybe land a shot, maybe get that submission, or maybe just stay on top, be technical. There's so many different skills, and as I say, it's about the conditioning you need to be in. If you've I've run about a foot apart for 90 minutes, yes, it's tough, but if you try and grapple with a guy for 20 seconds, going full out for 20 seconds, you're blowing out your arse. So try to do 3 5-minute rounds involving striking, knees, elbows. Some people, you come up against a good wrestler, maybe you're a good striker. This guy just wants to take you down and line tap you, or maybe beat you up or hold you against the cage. You need to be conditioned to defend that, have good defence, or be conditioned to get back up, keep getting took down. If a good wrestler and you keep me there, it just zaps the energy out of you, and it zaps the heart out of you. If you keep getting took down, you get back to your feet, you get took back down, you're like, fuck, he took me down again. It's all using all this energy between guys that just want to. So you need to work your wrestling defence, your offence, your conditioning, plus your game plan, and it's so tough, it's so grueling on the body, especially fight camps. Your 2 or 3 sessions a day, your sprints. I just done sprints before I came here, and I was in Airdrie with my teammate Paul Craig, who we'll go into later, fighting in a couple of weeks, next week. I was just doing sprints with him, and I hate sprints. I fucking hate sprints. 100 metres, I hate it because I was mere stamina. I could go longer. Like, that might be good in certain areas, but for me,
that's going back to your vices here.
So I hate, but I do sprints with him, and we mix it up every week. So it's not just like day 20 or 100 metres. We mix it up. We'll maybe do 5 at 100. We'll bring it in for 4. We'll bring it in more. So your body's no used to running the same amount every week. But I fucking hate sprints. I'd rather go 1,600 metres long marathons than day sprint work. But you need to do it. You need that explosive power. You need your legs working. But I get your lifts in or your sprints in every week. Your squats, deadlifts, or your sprints. Your solid basics, fundamentals, and then obviously your other work. But there's a lot. It sounds. I love it because it's my job now. For the last 3 years, I've been full time fighting, and I'm like, right, I train in the morning, I'll train in the afternoon. I've got all this free time. I've got this life, and I get to live this life and travel the world. I was like, this is the best life in the world. But then after a solid sparring session with some of the best fighters in the world, I'm lying burst. I'm like, fuck's sake. When I'm about to go out and fight, I'm behind the curtain, the lights go out, they're calling my name. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck am I doing there?
Just something that you touched on there. He's got me down, and he's put me down again. So within your method and your style of fighting, there's no suppose, there's no maybe, there's only a because that I've got to be in a different state of mind for this guy. By that I mean, I suppose he might do this, he might do that, he maybe do this, it can't be that. You've got to be that state of mind. Well, you've got to have that just that wee bit of sharpness away from him. You've got to have that wee extra technique away from him, and you've got to have that wee surprise up your sleeve, so to speak, to beat him. How do you go about that and think what I'm going to do in a situation that maybe he's had me doing 2 times, maybe he's had me doing 3 times or whatever? Where does that come in?
I think you need to be all in. You need to be all in, especially in martial arts. You can't slack in any areas, because you will pay when it comes to the fight. Like, oh, maybe I won't work as much as hard in my wrestling or that, and then it could just come back to bite you in your fight, and then there's only one person to blame as you. But for when it comes to the positions, like, I used to always watch my opponents, like I used to like study them, pure obsessed with them, a picture on my wall, like throwing darts into it and all that. Obviously that's not true, but then I was like, no, fuck this, I need to just focus on myself, be the best person, best fighter I can be on the night. And it's doing it to my coaches. He'll watch him, right, your man's good at this, he throws this shot well, he's a good wrestling against the cage, he'll maybe put you here. Then he'll drill it into your techniques, right, this guy's good in this position, which we'll do a thing called positional sparring. So we'll start in that position, and I'll get a fresh partner in every couple of minutes. So I've been working hard, fresh guy in, same position, try and get back to my feet. And there's just no quitting in me. Like, I think it's like Scottish pride, like you're fighting, like you could take me down 100 times, but I'm fucking getting up that 100 man's time. And you don't stop until the bell goes. If you're lying on your back and you're quit, then you're already giving up. You're giving up, you've lost the fight. Right, this guy's better than me, this guy ain't shit, this guy ain't no better than me. I'm getting back to my feet. Even if he wins a round, like, you need to be mentally strong, where if I can get up once, twice, I'm getting up 3-4 times, even though it's got to be tougher because you're more tired. But that guy will be tired too, because he'll be trying to hold you down, and sometimes that's harder, try to hold somebody down. And when they get back up, sometimes that does you, fuck, he's back up again, I can't keep him down, and that can tire you as well. So I think you just never, it sounds cliche as fuck, man, but never give up. Like, do you want to win the fight? Are you half-arsing it? Why are you there then? Why, if you don't want to get back up, shouldn't you come out the dressing room? You should have stayed in the house, shouldn't have put all the 9 weeks I did, 9 week fight camp. All the 9 weeks, sometimes I would travel and stay in Ireland, sometimes go to Iceland to train. I'm all got to do all that work just to lie on my back or just gear up, really. So for me, it's my best asset is my mental toughness. I think I cut a lot of weight, which a lot of fighters don't do, and it's grueling just to make weight. And I know I go to some weird places, tough places to make that weight. So I know when I make that weight, nothing got to be any harder than this fight. Like, my weight cuts are harder than my fights, and I've got a huge following that follow me everywhere. I can hear them in the crowd chanting my name. I'm stuck in the bottom. I'm getting up here, and I'm going to smash this guy. I get up, I win the fight. So it's kind of like a Rocky theme a wee bit. But yeah, sometimes you don't win the fight, and that's where you learn your mace. People like, how good is it to win all these fights? I'm like, the best things that's happened to me that I've learned is through my losses, because that's
correct.
Fuck, I need to go and work in that. This is where I'm doing wrong. I shouldn't be out drinking. This is what I should be eating. This is what I should be training. And like, I would never change one loss ever in my life. They're like, would you go back and do anything different now? I'm like, no, because this is how I'm improving my life. They're like, oh, would you fight them again? I'm not even bothered about rematches, because they're part of my journey, how I've learned and how I've coped with defeating. Because coping, coming in second, sometimes it's tough on some people. I've seen people not coming back for it. Maybe like you lose a cup final at football as well. I've lost some cup finals in my day, and it's gutting. Like, you don't even want the medal. Like, who remembers runners up sometimes? But in fighting, you're in there yourself. You've not got 10 other players to back you up. Maybe you're having a shit game, but you've got a few great players that can dig you out and get that bit of moment of magic. But when you're in that cage, it's you. Like, your coaches are there, but only you can save yourself in there. So it's a tough gig sometimes, but something I would never change is a loss.
Listening to you there, Chris, you wouldn't change getting beat?
No.
Because you learn for a good fighter is about mental clarity when under dire circumstances. What should a state of mind be within a fight situation, whether it be you're winning, drawing or losing?
I think you shouldn't be calm. If you're winning, be calm. Don't be overindulgent, overreacting on your shots or that. Keep calm and focus and turn on, because anything can happen. Because
you mentioned that 1 second with the Russian. What is the mental clarity? When even when you're winning, it's still very important that you've still got a state of mind. This guy could hit me and it could be a second and I'm gone.
That's it. It mostly happens with knockouts as well, because like, anybody can throw a punch, an overhand, a wee left hook, a high kick in, and they can just clip you. And I'll go back to what my old football man used to always say when we were winning. He would always shout at me, just to rip the piss out of him for a bit. Remember, like he would shout, nothing each. That's what was in there. Right, I don't know if you shout it up here. Nothing each. Yeah, 1 nothing up, 2 nothing up. Remember, nothing each. And he would, the 2 fingers on each side of the temples. And like we would laugh and that, but that's what you want. You're acting as if you're still need to win this game. And and that's what I say. If I'm 2 rounds up, we're in the 3rd round. Yes, I've won the 2 rounds, but this guy can still finish me in the 3rd. So it's not about like taking the foot off the gas, as I say, but keeping switched on, focused, but calm. Don't make any mistakes. But aye, calm-headed.
And it's amazing, isn't it, Paul, that here we are again, that Chris is using football and martial arts hand in hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and I do believe the two of them do go hand in hand. And you're right about your football coach, it's still nothing each. And that is the saying, even here that we have, it's nothing each, because you just don't know when that knockout punch is going to come, or when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. But you've always got to be prepared.
Another thing I've been thinking about there, and I know this is a different sport, but I always remember Steve Collins going in for the World Championship fight against Chris Eubank. And Eubank was the showman, wasn't he? And it was all razzmatazz, and he'd done all his wee dance, and his song was playing, and Collins just sat in the ring with his earphones on, totally zoning out, right? And I remember watching it thinking, he's freaking me out, the boy Collins, and Collins won the fight. See, going back to something you said earlier about being behind the curtain, I always imagine that moment. I always imagine a footballer just about to go out to play the game, because personally, my guts would be in knots, you know, the nerves.
Definitely, aye.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling at that moment?
That Champions League music going on. See when they're all standing up in Celtic Park, just goes mental. I can't even explain that, because people just shout. It's like you can't explain that. Like, what is that? It's no a scream, it's no a clap. It's just people losing their shit for that music, and I love it because you can't hear the music, and it's like this is what it's all about for Celtic fans. Champions League music. As soon as it plays, everybody loses their shit. Well, when I first started MMA, like I used to run to the cage, like screaming, like run to the dressing room, behind the curtain, screaming, because I was a bit younger, and I was getting butterflies, thinking about it all day. But I've had like 40 fights, 35 fights or something, and I do get calmer now. I'm getting calmer because I'm doing it more. Even though the arenas are getting bigger, they're sold out. I mean, I fought in the 3 Arena in Dublin in March here, and it was sold out. And because it was the main event, the radio, like, we're hitting the lights, and I've never had the lights off treatment. I'm standing like that.
Brilliant.
Scotland flag. I'm like, this is what it's all about. I'm singing. I've walked out to Christy Moore, and I never changed my entrance song ever. It was always Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah. And
I was like, I've always wanted to fight in Dublin because I trained there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm coming out to fucking Christy Moore, Viva La Quinta Brigada, when he played that. Because the old 3 Arena is the Point. So this used to be the Point, but it's called the 3 Arena now. So Christy Moore played there. So I came out to that, the Scotland flag, and I was singing, I was smiling, and I just took it all in. Sold out, Irish. Some of them got mental for me, some of them singing to Christy Moore. And I was the coolest guy in the room. I was like Big Edward at Ibrox flaunting away, man. I was the coolest guy in the room, singing.
Brilliant.
Their moments I'll take to me for life. It was on Sky Sports Night, and I can show the Wayne's back in the day. That's your old man doing a bit, not me. But it took me about 20 fights to just be calm, and I was just like, it's just a normal Saturday night now. But at the start, I was nervous all week. Fight week, jitters. And it was like, you get a runner, they come and get you. Like, right, 10 fights, you're up, Chris. 8 fights, you're up, Chris. That's the worst for me. Aye. I'm like, if I could just clip my fingers and I'd be in the cage, that's happy days. Right, 4 up, right, you're up next, get ready, I get the flag. Oh, shit, man, what am I doing? Why have I got myself in this position again? Then I got to the stage, I was like, right, this is my last fight. And then I just fell and like just got used to it. I'm like, that's just normal now. But it's weird fighting in front of basically a drunken crowd for their entertainment in a cage for money. Not I mean, that's what it's glorified as. But it's just a weird feeling that I can make a living out of this now, and people enjoy it. And people come travel all the world to watch me. That I've got fans. It's weird. It's always weird that people like me and want to get a picture with me or something. I've never grown up. Where I'm from, I'm like, I couldn't see that in a million years. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to be a fireman. I joined on a fireman, and none of that came through. So
I think the fan base will continue to grow though, Jim, because in speaking to Chris, he's anything but the bad guy, as it says here. You know, and it's
he's
like
a nice guy.
Exactly, and people can kind of feed off of that as well.
Yeah.
That's always intrigued me about the pre-match nerves. That would kill me.
Well, I've got to be honest, even, you know, you look at us here, regardless of whether it be Scottish Cup games, League Cup games, or League games, even as a coach these days, I still get the butterflies going out, whether it be the under 13s, under 14s, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that lets you know that you're being aware, you want to do well. The greatest entertainers in the world going out on a stage to sing by themselves, and they've got that orchestra behind them. They still get that. Jimmy used to get it before he went and played a game, nights before it, butterfly. But the reason that I found out that Jimmy got it, Jimmy was a supporter of the club. Although he was a player, he was a supporter. And he was a punter like ourselves, and he knew what it meant to go out and win. And if they lost and he was playing, he would take up personally and go away and deal with his own downs at that particular time if they'd been beat where a big European game or a Rangers game. So there's no too much difference for Chris, for yourself, or the greatest entertainers in the world. Everybody gets that feeling that wants to win.
Exactly, it means something.
Wants to win. It means something.
I think nerves is good, because it means it keeps you sharp as well. You're alert, you're nervous. Oh, I'm a bit worried here, but nerves is definitely a good thing. I think everybody should be nervous.
Aye, it is, and it does mean something if you're nervous. See, I go back to 1988, Chris, and I was being introduced to going to the games around about that time, the centenary season. So when you were that age, about 10, because that's what age I was back in 88, the Celtic were stopping the 10, right? So we had the men like the guy up above you there, Henrik Larsson. I'm going to ask you, who were your first heroes? Would it be safe to say the man there?
It was clear as day. It's him. My first ever game was in '97. We beat Hearts 3-0, and it was a Larsson hat-trick. I had these dreadlocks.
Right.
The year we stopped at 10, and just what a professional, just what a guy. His goals, not even his goals, the amount of assists, the type of person he was, then to go on to win with Man United and obviously with Barcelona. Like, that man deserved a European winners medal at some point, and he was just the perfect professional for me. I just loved him. I talk about to my papa all the time, but my papa wasn't having anybody by Jimmy Johnson.
Is that right?
Bye. So I was like, no, Larsson, no, trust me, nobody comes close to him and that. So I think that's the era, isn't it? Like, my papa's era and my era, but Larsson, just a hero is all. Like, as I say, is just a perfect professional.
What did you like about him, Chris, as an athlete?
I thought as a teammate, he was unselfish. Like, he would cut it back for somebody in an easier position where a lot of strikers are sometimes greedy, and he was never in the media for like stupid shit. He wasn't out drinking, getting drunk, or annoying somebody, or he just seemed like a genuine nice guy. And just what a finisher. And he come back for like proper injuries to be even better. When he won the Golden Boot, when he scored like 53 goals one year, and just like, he knew what it meant to play for Celtic. He had these 7 years, he stuck to his word, and he was a man of his word. And then to come back and score against us just proves what type of professional he was, because he had a new team and he had a job to do, and it was heartbreaking to see. But but when he set up the 2 goals for Barcelona against Arsenal, I don't think I've ever celebrated for a team that's no Celtic in my life, just because he deserved it after Seville, like that performance against Porto. And what a guy. Like, I would honestly have him in the team now just to pick up a winner's medal, because he'd probably still score some goals anyway. I
think I wanted him back as a strikers coach, just when we lost Damien Duff. Now, that was when we were stopping the 10, we're now going for the 10, right? Talk to us about your thoughts for next season. Are you still confident? I know things have changed during the pandemic. We've slashed the squad, if you like, a fair bit. We've only brought one in on loan at the moment. Are you still quite confident that we can do this? Yeah,
I think we've got a great squad, great variety of players as well. In midfield, sometimes last year, like, how you got to squeeze all these players in because they were so good. Somebody would fall out, then the person that would come in would play great, so you're like, hey, you can't leave him out now. And then they tied down Elanusi, who I did think was getting injured a lot and stuff like that, but you could see he's got quality there. So getting him back in again will be good. I hope we keep Edward for at least the full season, but I think we've got a better squad than Rangers, who are probably got to be our closest contenders, and I don't see why they can't do what they've done the last few years and wrap everything up. I can always remember when we were stopping at 10, I can always remember Paul Lambert saying there was so much pressure to stop the Rangers.
That's right.
So that pressure will now be on Rangers to stop us. And I don't know, like, you never know. Some Celtic fans are funny these days. Like, you get a wee bad result in the stadium. Sometimes a guy misplaces a pass and they're on their back. Maybe he's had a great game, he does one, but I'm like, just settle down, man.
Aye.
So Celtic fans are funny sometimes. If you lose one, like, you never know, we better know, fuck it, going for 10. But I always remember Paul Lambert saying that there was unbelievable pressure going into that to stop Rangers from getting 10. So Rangers will do everything in their power to stop this, but sadly it won't be enough.
Martial art quotes and the psychology and the thinkings a great martial artist for way back, including Bruce Lee.
Yep.
What is your favourite martial artist quote that's inspired you and helped you along the road?
Bruce Lee's probably the only one I did listen to for quotes. I like quoting a lot of Bruce Lee. Growing up, I didn't have too many heroes as martial artists because it wasn't the path I thought it was going to go down. It was like always football, but I've got to come back to football. It's Tommy Burns. Tommy Burns, like, his quotes are the best quotes because I feel like I'm very, like, the people, we are all the same, if that makes sense.
Aye, no, that does make sense.
And like, after my last one, I quoted Tommy Burns in the cage in the mic. I says, I've talked about, like, they're there and they're always there and God bless every one of them, and I'll live by that. I'll live by that quote because I think you just need to be invested in something like that to understand it, or where you're from, how you're brought up. And I don't know, I just never looked up to a martial artist or that, like Bruce Lee or that. I was more like a football guy, like, that's the guy I want to be, not even like play like, that's a person I want to be like the way he's speaking about people he loves or people that care about a certain subject or whatever, you know what I mean? So I would say Tommy Burns probably is my favourite quote.
Well, you can't get any better than taking one of Tommy's quotes in with you, and just the thought of Tommy Burns' quote being with you and Tommy spirit being with you and getting into that cage to win and to be a champion. Wow, I love that, Chris. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
That is brilliant. Chris, you're here on a Monday afternoon and we really appreciate you coming down, because in a couple of days you're flying away to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Tell us about your journey.
I'm away to UFC Fight Island, which is on for Saturday there, 4 weeks in a row. So UFC have bought an island just so they could basically put shows on through this pandemic, and fighters can get paid and fans can still watch it and obviously enjoy some fights. So they've built like this small arena without any fans, just for the fighters. So I'm over there on Wednesday, but I fly to London. I get tested for COVID there. I self-quarantine with my team for 2 days in London. Then fly to Abu Dhabi, same situation, get tested, quarantine, then I'll be allowed out to play basically. The fight will be the following Saturday, so I'll be there for like 2 weeks. But I'm looking forward to it. I've travelled the world, but it's somewhere I've never really wanted to be, is Dubai or Abu Dhabi, so I'll get to tick that off and get to see some cages on beaches and stuff like that, get there a bit of training, and obviously corner my teammate to another victory, hopefully, against another Russian actually, since he submitted the last one in London. So it's just a mad life I get to live. I get to travel about, meeting new people, training. It's basically the martial arts way, man. I wouldn't want to have any other life. I'm very blessed to have this and happy about the team I've met, the people I've met, guys like yourself coming on here doing stuff like this. And because when I worked in the steelworks, like, I got up every morning, I sat at the edge of my bed with my head down, like dreading going in because I hated it. So I thought waking up in that negative mind frame, getting into a work that I hated, you're already switched on to the wrong mind. You're hating your life. So when I became full-time fighting, I wake up with a smile, I go and train. Even though sometimes I don't want to, I still do it and I enjoy it after it. Then I go back to my bed or go back to eat some good food, and that's my life basically. And like, I would take that hour of 9 to 5 any day. And And plus, as I say, it's a bit of release, so when I get to punch or choke people out, it's happy.
That's a release. I'm not feeling well with you. I'm going to choke you. I'm just going to kick you. No, I'm just going to slap you about the ring. I love it. It's brilliant.
But it's got to, like, I've got a documentary at the BBC, the new BBC iPlayer, The Bad Guy, and I'm going to have other documentaries about film and stuff. I'm a film fanatic. So I was actually thinking about here doing a bit of filming for the old Small Faces film, so the locations. So stuff like that, documentaries on BBC, radios. I like to do like some filming sometimes, I don't know, like it's opening doors for me, the stuff I love. Travelling the world, I love travelling to America and Thailand and stuff like that, so I'm just being me, just being the same guy I've always been. I've never changed really, and I won't change for anybody really. So why?
Would you like to get into films?
I'd love it.
Aye.
I'm a pure film geek. Like, I'll go to all film locations. I've got like a different Instagram page for like all the world I've been to. I'll go to places like good films have been filmed in that. So I wouldn't mind, but it's the whole Scottish accent thing. Like, see my documentary, I'm like, oh, Jesus, that what I sound like, man.
You sound alright. So if you were to go in the movies, what would be your... I'd
be the bad guy.
Would you be the bad guy, would you?
The bogus gas man at the door. No, but I don't know, man. I could play a rom-com, know what I mean? The bearded Scottish guy. Like Gerard Butler, he's in one, isn't he?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'd probably batter him in a film, actually. He'd be the good guy. I'd batter Gerard Butler. I'd choke him out.
He's not really the most popular amongst Celtic fans these days, Jerry. But you're going to be ticking off Abu Dhabi. You can now tick off Cathkin Park, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure for Jim and I, so thank you very much for joining us.
The pleasure's all mine, honestly. I can't wait to tell people about this place. My pals will love it. They're diehards. Maybe even know about it. I don't know. Maybe some of them's played here through their football days. You never know. But thanks for having me, and cheers for showing me about that. A wee bit of history.
Brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Much. I appreciate it.